UEFN and Fortnite Creative 2.0 is finally here. You can build whatever you want except for Battle Royale islands, specifically remakes of Fortnite's old seasons. Now, before I absolutely ruin anyone's expectations, we do have two big teams working on remakes of the Chapter 1 Season 3 maps. Those are the Atlas Creative Team and Reboot for the Reboot Royale. Those maps are still going to come out. You're still going to be able to play them. Atlas is out right now. It's just really shit, and Reboot is working on theirs. But it seems like that might be all we get. Chapter 1, Season 3, maybe someone will do Chapter 1. I'm hoping for Season 8 because that one had a bunch of biome variety, but I don't even know if that's possible with the memory limits. This UEFN kind of create whatever you want in Fortnite is extremely limited still. Obviously, there's much more freedom in UEFN than there was in the original Creative 1.0. I don't want to undermine it, but both teams have had memory issues and they've had to dial back on a lot of stuff, even remove locations from the map. And Epic has come out and confirmed that Chapter 1 will be the only map that we are allowed to remake for two different reasons: copyright and monetization. You have to get permission from a company or person before using their own IP, and so obviously none of the copyrighted stuff is going to be allowed. I mean, in a complete fantasy world, yeah, I guess you technically could add a Mario Kart track into Fortnite if you got permission from Nintendo, but we know that'll never happen. Okay, so for the most part, all copyright stuff is off limits, and all the seasonal variations of Fortnite Battle Royale's maps and islands are Epic's intellectual property, so you'll need permission from them. Now, the good part is they've given permission to everyone to remake the Chapter 1 map, but they said, "We're as excited as you to relive the experiences we shared in the original Fortnite Battle Royale Chapter 1 map, and so we are granting a special and specific exception to allow creators to publish their own remakes of the Chapter 1 maps and only the Chapter 1 maps." That is just so weird. I don't understand. And then the monetization thing. Islands recreating Chapter 1 maps will remain ineligible for monetization. That one kind of actually makes much more sense than the whole copyright thing. You would basically just have people profiting off of Epic's work, because now map creators get paid based on player engagement and playtime on the maps. So that makes sense, but the Chapter 1 remakes, no one is making money off them. Okay, so if someone were to recreate the Chapter 2 and 3 map, they would be not making money off of it. So I don't understand why Epic just doesn't give the okay to remake those as well. It's really weird how they're only allowing Chapter 1. First of all, it's kind of weird because all of these assets, for the most part, they already existed in Creative 1.0, like the Chapter 1 terrain pieces. Obviously, we didn't have a full-on terrain editor, but the Chapter 1 terrain pieces, and we've had the assets like the walls and the props, and even full-on prefabs to recreate named locations. We've even had islands for Chapter 3, Greasy Grove, and Tilted Towers that are just preset islands in Creative that you can load up and use. As weird as it is that recreating a Fortnite map in Fortnite would have copyright issues, I do understand it. Okay, it is Epic's IP. It's their original creation that you're trying to remake. But if they're gonna really enforce this copyright thing, I really think they should either go all the way or just let us do whatever we want, because they're not going all the way. We're still allowed to do Chapter 1 maps, but Chapter 2, 3, and I guess anything after that would just be completely off limits. I just don't understand that. And I have to say, it does suck, because in all honesty, Chapter 1 is by far the worst one. If you were to remake any of these old Chapter season maps, Chapter 1 is the worst one to do. I'm not saying that Chapter 1 was a bad chapter or a bad map. I think that it was actually the best chapter and had some of the best seasons and had great maps, but the issue is how different the game is compared to now. And so much stuff in UEFN is still not able to be modified, like weapon stats and icons and sound effects. Yes, you can import custom sounds, okay? So you can import a sound file and have it play at any time. But if you want the sound effect of the old Scar or the old Pump or the old Storm sound, you can't modify the sound that the Scar makes when a player shoots it. And then obviously most of the Chapter 1 weapons have had their icons changed. They'd have heavy stat changes, okay? Like using a blue pump in current day is just not the same at all to using it back then. Obviously double pump was a thing. Another thing is that it would just feel so slow. So these maps are not going to have sprinting and mantling and sliding and swimming, and that's a decision made by the teams that made the maps. But without it, it just feels so weird after playing with these mechanics for a year now, maybe over a year. And swimming has been in the game for years, and you still have to sluggishly walk through Loot Lake. It's just kind of weird. And that's just a weird issue that I don't know if there is a solution to. You either add these mechanics and have a fluid gameplay experience, but it's not technically true to the OG, or you don't add these mechanics and the game just feels really slow compared to modern Fortnite. The graphics as well, you're never gonna have 100% accurate sky and lighting. You can have the props, you can have the terrain, you can have all the assets, but the sky and lighting are just gonna be so hard to recreate. All the UI elements cannot really be replicated identically right now. So if you want to recreate a true Chapter 1 experience, it's just going to be very difficult. In my opinion, the best seasonal map to recreate would be Chapter 3 Season 1. One of the best seasons, in my opinion, ever. It might be top 3. It's definitely top 5. It might be top 3. I'm not sure. I have to sit on that and think about it for a little bit, but it's definitely top 5. And this map would just work so well. One, the memory issue. Okay, remember when Chapter 3 did not have tilted towers? It was covered in snow. Remember when it did not have covert cavern? I think that version of the map and just how nice it looked with all the snow around would be pretty easy to implement into UEFN and be easy to publish with the memory limits. Spider-Man web shooters could be replaced with grapple gloves at the same spawn locations. For the most part, all the weapons are pretty much unchanged. The lighting is very similar to what we have now. The only really noticeable weapons, it would be the MK7 and the Stinger that got nerfed, but they're still pretty good to use now. The only real problem, I think, would be Daily Bugle, and in my opinion, that could just be replaced with Lazy Lagoon because they did that in Season 3. And then the map would also work really well for zero build. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 just wouldn't work that well. In Chapter 1 especially, you had a lot of hills that just were not possible to get up without building. The creators can modify the map, sure, but if you just import the Chapter 3 map and do some slight tweaking, maybe add the zip lines and the ascenders that were added in Season 2, you could have a full-on zero build mode that would actually work really well on that map. Sadly, it'll never happen, I guess, because Epic is just not allowing it. I really hope they change their mind on this, or I hope that they just officially add old chapter maps as an option, LTM or whatever. Just have an LTM that rotates between old chapter maps. Downloading the Atlas Battle Royale map only took like a few seconds, to be honest. So people always talk about how having all these different maps would make the download size of Fortnite really big, and that's just not the case, clearly. A lot of these assets already exist in the files. All the weapons already exist in the files. And look at Apex, how many maps they have in rotation, and the game size is not like absurdly large. So I'm sure Fortnite will be fine if they do that. Hopefully they add it as an option soon. Maybe they will. Following the hype of this, they'll try to just perfect it and give it to us the correct way. And yeah, I'll definitely be interested to see if we can ever re-experience the Chapter 2 and 3 map in creative, but I don't know. I'll keep you updated if Epic makes any more statements. Thank you guys for watching this video. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.